Thanks for joining us tonight at 5. I'm Naomi Kitt. We start tonight with the investigation into the deaths of 8 people, including 6 children at a home in Broken Arrow. Police are now investigating this as a murder-suicide. We have live team coverage bringing you all angles, from community reaction to the mental health toll this can have on first responders. First, let's get over to 2 News main anchor Karen Larson live at the scene with the very latest in this investigation.
Well, Naomi, as the investigation moves into the second day, Broken Arrow Police and Fire are now revealing a little bit more about what happened to the family in that home right across the street from me right now. They have just now taken down the crime scene tape. Broken Arrow's fire chief said today that smoke and flames were showing from the rear of the home when the crews responded within minutes of that 911 call yesterday afternoon. Chief Jeremy Moore says that firefighters immediately attacked the flames while launching a search and rescue effort, and that's when firefighters found the 2 adults in the front of the house with significant injuries, and they were dead.
Those injuries did appear to our fire crews at that time immediately to be criminal in nature, and so we immediately called for the police department to come and intervene on the fire scene.
We have 6 juvenile victims, ranging in ages from 1 to 13 years old. We have 2 adult suspects deceased, being investigated as a murder-suicide.
The children's bodies were found in a back bedroom, the same bedroom where the fire started. The fire crews managed to contain the flames to that one room, but it is badly damaged, and that's impacting the investigation into how the children died. Broken Arrow authorities did say the fire is not what killed them. They said they did recover guns from the home, but it is a state medical examiner who will have to determine their cause of death. Now, as I said, they just now have released the home back to the family. In fact, a family member, Danny Nelson, is joining me now. Danny, stepping here with me right now. First of all, may we say, we're so very, very sorry for the loss.
Thank you.
What have you been hearing about what has happened here with your son?
That it was a murder-suicide.
Did you have any idea that there were problems within the home?
Well, no financial problems.
You knew about the financial problems?
Yeah, but not any physical problems.
And the police were asking you if there was any concern of violence or anything in the home?
Yes, but there was no violence that I saw.
So what happens next for you?
I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Nelson, I'm so very, very sorry. I know you said it's your angels. Your angels are in heaven, right? They are. We're so very, very sorry for your loss. I'm going to let you go because I'm so sorry. That's Danny Nelson, the father of the male victim in the home, as well as the father-in-law and the grandfather to those children. Now, we are also learning more about the family from the neighbors tonight. 2 News Oklahoma's senior reporter and anchor Sharon Phillips joining me now with more on that. Sharon?
Karen, I was able to speak with the landlord and the homeowner earlier today, and she tells me the family had been renting the home here in this house behind me for about 8 years, and she says she would see them from time to time when she would come over to inspect the house. Chris Welch owns several properties in Broken Arrow, and she says she was stunned to find out one of the families renting from her was the same family she'd heard about on the news.
My ex-husband lived in this house for a while after we got divorced, and he contacted me through Facebook last night.
Welch says she was shocked to learn there were 6 children inside this home.
The family had been there 8 years, husband, wife. To my knowledge, they only had 3 or 4 kids, but my understanding is there were 6.
Welch tells me the family seemed nice, but she never really spoke with the mother.
She was real quiet. She hardly ever spoke, honestly. So I always kind of wondered about that.
Now, not only did we speak with the landlord today, we also spoke with several neighbors in the area, and we were talking with them earlier, and they said there were some warning signs that they noticed, but now they believe that they were actually red flags. We're going to hear from that neighbor coming up tonight at 6. Karen, I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you.
Such a difficult time for this community, Sharon. And tonight, the Broken Arrow Fire Department is really praising another set of first responders for their help yesterday. In this case, Tulsa Fire, for handling calls while Broken Arrow firefighters were here at the scene of this fire. Now, 2 News Oklahoma senior reporter Justin Ayer is joining me now live from Fire Station 6 in Broken Arrow. And that's where, Justin, you're telling me that the Tulsa firefighters staged yesterday.
That's right, Karen. 3 Tulsa fire crews were actually right here behind me, ready to go out to calls. The chief said they actually did go out to a few calls, but he says at the end of the day, it just shows how important it is for these guys and gals to be cross-trained to help as many people as possible. On Thursday night, it was Tulsa firefighters pulling out of Broken Arrows Station 6 to help because BA's resources were busy at the scene of a murder-suicide. Broken Arrow Fire Chief Jeremy Moore says when there's multiple victims involved, odds are they'll be calling their community partners with Tulsa Fire to handle calls.
It was great to have them come over and be able to stand by in our fire stations because it let our crews focus on the needs of our citizens that were ongoing at that time.
3 Tulsa fire crews and 2 EMSA crews were called into Broken Arrow, so BA fire crews could handle what was going on here. Chief Moore says it worked in their favor in 2 ways.
Where he had 18 to 20 third graders that were here for a public education event, and Tulsa Fire actually conducted the public education event for us, gave the children a tour of their fire truck while also being here prepared to make calls for us.
It's what he calls a reciprocal relationship. So they can answer your calls and know what they're doing, essentially.
Yeah, most of our policies and procedures are going to be very similar.
So what this all comes down to is that their training is about the same, and as you've just heard, these crews here in Broken Arrow will do the same for Tulsa. Karen, we'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Justin. You know, first responders have a very, very difficult task. They have to process scenes like the one at this home here on South Hickory every day while still doing their jobs. Well, tonight, 2 News anchor Naomi Kitt, she talked with a counselor who specifically deals with first responders after they witness tragedy in our community. Naomi, this is a tough one.
It really is, Karen, and the counselor I talked with today told me that a normal person goes through 1 to 5 traumatic events in their lifetime. He said a first responder, though, can experience 500 to 800 traumatic events over the course of their career. It can take a huge toll on their mental health.
To arrive on scene yesterday and see the looks on our first responders, my firefighters' faces, just absolutely broke my heart.
Broken Arrow Fire Chief Jeremy Moore says as his firefighters work to contain the blaze and investigate the tragic scene, they each had the difficult task of processing the trauma associated with 6 dead children and 2 dead adults.
No one should have to face this kind of tragedy, and our firefighters do face this from time to time.
I met Jim Waring Friday afternoon, the Law Enforcement Engagement Director for Grand Mental Health.
We don't have the luxury of going in and trying to wrap our head around what we're seeing. I think subconsciously, we're kind of taking it in, but, primarily we really are so focused on getting the job done.
After a decades-long career in law enforcement, he found there was a disconnect between the job and mental wellness. He says a critical incident debrief is vital for first responders, so they have a chance to talk about the impact of what they've seen.
For first responders, we've got to make the wellness piece, it's got to be normal. It's just got to be like an old hat.
Waring says it can help as first responders experience cumulative trauma that builds up. Chief Moore says they started to focus on their men and women's mental wellness right away.
We know these can have traumatic effects on individuals throughout their life, and it can be a cumulative effect too, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime tragedy, and we are very proactive, both the police chief and I, in making sure that our personnel are being well taken care of.
Coming up tonight at 6, I'll let you know how Chief Moore says they addressed mental well-being with their firefighters on scene last night. I'll have that part of the story for you in the next hour. Well, you want to make sure to stay with 2 News Oklahoma for all of the latest updates on this sad and tragic story. We'll continue to gather more details and bring you those updates here on air and on our website at kjrh.com. We'll be right back after this.